Welcome to LSC. It's Sports Time. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Today I have a very special guest and former Bruin, Chris Morant. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
Boy, I was glad to have you here. And this is kind of a last-minute thing, but this is working out real good. But you started off playing rec ball in Newport News. Let's talk a little bit about that.
I played at the Ward Bobcats. Played for Doris Miller. I used to play for Oyster Point, and had David Macklin and Marcellus Harris played on them teams with me at the Oyster Point, and it was a great opportunity to play with them guys, and then playing against them in high school.
Yeah, but you also played baseball with Aaron Brooks.
Played baseball. Aaron Brooks was on my team. Allen Iverson's on my team. He was a pitcher. Aaron Brooks was with the Yankees, and me Iverson was on the Orioles. Okay.
Well, then after that, then you go to Bethel High School and you play for Coach Kozlowski.
Oh man!
What an experience that was, huh?
Kozlowski was a great guy to play for. He was always on us. He gave us all. He gave us 110%. He was a coach that he was enthusiastic every day, coming to practice with Bouchard and with Coach Larry Eastup, right. And also the Victor Morgan's family. And that was a great coaching staff playing for them.
And you know, you mentioned some people that are, and Eastep is still over there. He's still coaching girls softball over there. But that was not only a great time, but you got to be on the state championship with Iverson in '93. But even though we talk about the state championship, talk a little bit about that game up in Richmond.
Oh, that was a very cold game. I was number 88. I was playing the linebacker. Kozlowski, I started my freshman year on the varsity. And he always tell me, hey, young buck, get in there and make a play. And when I get in there, I'll get excited. And I was fortunate enough to make some plays in there. And actually, I think I probably saved the last tackle for the game.
Well, and see, a lot of people, if they don't remember, you guys trailed 16-0 in the fourth quarter. So we're not only talking 2 touchdowns, but two-point conversions. And yet you did it. I mean, what did it feel like when you accomplished that and sent it into overtime? That had to be just unbelievable.
Well, it was great because we knew we had a team. We knew we was going to come back. The guys rallied around Allen Iverson and tell him, hey, we got to do this. We got to get ourselves together. And when we was down by them touchdowns, you would see us that we all come in a circle and say, hey, it's time to go to work. And that's what we did. And everybody didn't believe we was going to win it, but we ended up doing it.
Well, you were linebacker, but you also played some running back. But I remember on that last, you stopped them. They had the ball first in overtime. You stopped them. You could have kicked a field goal, but you guys didn't.
No, that was not the plan. The plan was to really beat these guys. And we told them, hey, we want to go for the win. We really want to show we can do this. And that's what we did. And we ended up coming in with a victory.
Yeah, but it was like 3 running plays, and you're in the end zone. I mean, and I'm on the sideline freezing, But that had to be the highlight of your career. And you were a sophomore that year?
I was a sophomore that year.
Right. And as a sophomore, not only played linebacker, but you did a lot of running back too.
Played some running back behind Mike Jackson and them guys who showed me that you can get in there and pound the ball. I was more like a bruiser, getting to 3-4 yards, and he was more like a flashy running back, take it to the house. So.
Well, evidently you like defense better. You like hitting people rather than getting hit.
Well, that was the thing. Coach Morgan, he was my linebacker coach in high school, and his number one thing is take people's head off, and he put that in us. We didn't hit nobody. We couldn't play for him on his defense. So.
Right. You graduated after 4 years at Bethel, had a great career over there. You go to UVA, transfer to JMU, and become their sack leader.
Well, fortunately, I went there and I broke Charles Haley's sack record. Got Defensive Player of the Year when I first transferred there. A lot of people was like, wow, this is amazing. But I was amazed about it because I came from a program of getting, All-American in high school, and college was just another stepping stone, and I just wanted to show everybody that I can play at the next level.
And then not only get the sack record, but then you become the all-time defensive player.
Defensive player of the year, and then I was the only one to cite Makovic in his college career, and everybody was like, "Wow, that was great." And I mean, I did it in high school, so it was nothing new to me.
So to you, that's not a big accomplishment because I've done it before.
Absolutely, it's not a big accomplishment. So, but he was a good player, in high school and in college, and I mean, he was a tremendous player, and he took the game to another level. And so, I just wanted everybody to know that I can play on that next level too.
Right. Now, when you graduated from college, you took a route that really took you north, and you went into the Canadian Football League. Talk a little bit about that, because now you're talking about playing when it's really cold all the time, not just one game.
It was really cold up there, and playing for the Edmonton Eskimos was a great experience for me. It was, you got 12 guys on the field, you was 2 yards off the ball, so you really had to really work on the defensive side of the ball. It's more for offensive, a guy who can play running back or wide receiver or quarterback, or who's a defensive back guy. It's not more for like a linebacker or defensive end, which I was playing. So.
Right. Now, talk a little bit about what you learned as far as your techniques, because you had coaches in the rec league, in the high school, in the colleges that really taught you some techniques that you were able to take and then hone and make him even better because of your athletic ability.
Absolutely. With the things that the coaches showed me, I really affect these techniques. Technique is the key in football today. A lot of guys don't understand technique is very take you a long way, especially when you start knowing your keys and start watching a lot of film and stuff like that. And I really took that to another level. I do that in my high school. When I coach high school football, Pop Warner, I make sure I film the games and I make sure I work with my teammates one-on-one and show them why you're making that wrong step, because that's what we need to do to teach. Go back to technique.
Right.
Technique win games.
Yeah, technique does win a game. And if you look over at Mike Smith over at Hampton High School, if there's one thing you can say about him and Danny Mitchell and Elvis Mann, it was they were very sound with their players. Then after you at the Canadian League, then you go to arena football, which you talk about fast.
Arena football is one of the fastest games out here. There's a lot of guys who cannot play in this league. It's a one-on-one thing against a man versus another man. You got to play on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, which I played linebacker and running back. And so it was nothing new to me, because it was just more how to use technique and how to play the game. And it was exciting. You got 8 players on the field. Then you got a guy who goes in motion, what they call him the high motion man. And it's exciting because you're allowed to interact with the fans. You're allowed to knock people over the wall. And that's what I like to do, is hit. So that was right in my favor.
So, but you went there, and then from there you played for the Norfolk team?
I played for the Norfolk Nighthawks. I went to play for Kansas City Brigades. Played with the New York Dragons. Played with a team in Florida. Won an Arena Cup championship. That's what this ring is for right here, that I won in 2004, and I was All-American in Arena. And so it was a great feeling to me to play in that.
So you've been involved in sports forever. and but you also were evidently pretty good a student, because you're not going to get through college and all this if you don't become a good student also. And I don't want to get to that right now, but I want to talk a little bit about you being part owner and personnel director of the Florida Stingrays.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
Down in Fort Myers, Florida, me and my partner named Jay Lawrence, we came up with this called the Florida Stingrays. What we do is we got the business plan for the Green Bay Packers. We let our city own the team, take ownership of the team, and this is a stepping stone where I help guys get to the next level. And my goal is to get this league started up in Fort Myers and then come back home and get one started right here in Hampton Coliseum. That's my dream.
Okay, so what you basically are doing is you are helping. It's almost like a feeder system.
Absolutely.
That you're showing these guys that if they can excel here, they can go to the next level.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Wow. And obviously you're doing pretty good. You even got business cards.
Absolutely.
No, I'm just kidding. But we're gonna wrap this thing up. But you do some stuff with motivational speaking, especially when you're talking to youngsters. Take me through what you tell those.
Well, I'm a motivational speaker. It's called You Can Make It. What I do is I go into the public school systems and I talk to the kids about how to make the right choices, make the right decision. But not only that, I help students make decisions if they want to go to college and tell them why it's so important for you to get these good grades, why it's so important that you got to take this math, this reading, this English to get to the next level. I talk to students on, I even go to the bad schools and talk to them to get them to the next level so they can play sports. Because we know that some kids that love to play sports, that's the only way they can do is through school. And so I teach parents, I guide parents and show them how to look at the curriculum for college level and compare them to the high school level. So I go to different states and I talk to different kids and do motivational speaking for them.
So it's not just kids, you're also talking to the parents?
I'm talking to the parents. The parents need to be educated on how and knowing what their child needs to have to get into college. And nowadays, you have the curriculum changing, and especially with the NCAA, they're changing every day what their curriculum are, with the especially with the grade and the GPA and how much they got to get on the SAT. And so parents do need to be educated on that so they know what their kid getting involved with.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming in. It's a last minute thing, but I really appreciate you coming in.
I appreciate you having me here.
Good enough. I want to thank you for tuning in to LSC and Sports Time. I want to thank my special guest, and I'm going to call him a star because he is, Chris Morant, former Bethel Bruin. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Until next time.